G'day all, number one Machop fan here with another episode of Machop's Musings. As you may remember me mentioning during my Pokémon Sun blind run, 2.5 weeks ago at time of recording, I lost a highly precious plush Smeargle that I'd taken with me to a Premier Challenge in Box Hill, Victoria. Despite a second visit to Box Hill for another Premier Challenge, this Smeargle plush sadly remains missing, feared lost forever, because I've exhausted every avenue I can short of the local tip in finding it again. But naturally, thinking as much as I have about my lost Smeargle has made me think more about Smeargle as a Pokemon. And that made me think about something I have thought about once before, but decided to make an episode out of. Smeargle's Pokémon Crystal entry, for those of you who are old enough to remember Generation 2, stated that the colour of the mysterious fluid secreted from its tail is predetermined for each Smeargle. In other words, every Smeargle has a different colour tail, and it has that colour for its entire life. We already know from a number of other Pokédex entries that Smeargle also have a tendency to let other Smeargle put paw prints on their backs once they become adults. So, thinking about that, as well as about IVs, I see a possibility where they could be interconnected, so that each Smeargle does actually look different the way Spinda does with its spots. So basically, we understand that the paw print on its back and the colour of its tail can be different because they will be from two different Smeargles. And they can be incorporated into two different colours. Each colour on a computer program or anything is a combination of 3 colours: red, green, and blue. When you multiply that by 2, because you've got 2 different colours, you've got 6 different values you'd work with numbers. Pokemon also have 6 IVs: HP, Attack, Defense, Special Attack, Special Defense, and Speed. That's a match. 6 potential IVs, 6 colour values. So you could actually correspond them with each other. For example, say, one way I could see it working would be the colour of the tail could determine attacking IVs and speed. So like, the green for the tail would be attack, the blue for the tail special attack, the red for the tail speed. And likewise for the paw print on the back, that could be for defensive IVs. So like, red for the back would represent HP, blue for the back could represent defense, green for the back could represent special defense. With that in mind, I've taken I've ripped a plush Smeargle, not a plush Smeargle, that'd be the day, an artwork of Smeargle from Bulba Garden Archives. My apologies for not asking permission to do so first, but credit goes to them for having this, I'm pretty sure it's official artwork, in their archives. The Smeargle we have here, which I've edited using Photoshop, has a dark brown tail and a light limeish bluish colour paw print on its back. This Smeargle is actually based on a Smeargle I captured in Pokémon Sun. I can't remember if it was actually in the blind run itself, most likely. This Smeargle, running it through an IV calculator on Cerebi.net, has the following at most IVs. This is us being generous because they're pretty bad. An HP IV of 2, attack and special attack both 9, defense 29, yay, something good, special defense 22, and speed 12. Plugging that into Photoshop in various multiples of basically 31 into 255, the tail has a red value of 99 and a green and blue value of 74 each, resulting in its dark brown colour. As for, if I could have a look, the paw print on its back, which is lime green. The values I have here, I may as well show them. I think they'll appear. No, they won't. That's annoying. Different window. But the values I have there are 16 for red. For green, so the red was for HP, so 16. Green for defense, 239. And blue for special defense, 181. Generally, its defensive IVs are way higher than its offensive IVs. And as demonstrated here, if this was to happen in future games, and I would really love it to happen in future games, then the lower the Pokemon's IVs, the darker generally the colour. So basically, a Pokemon that would have 6 IVs, so 6 perfect IVs, where they're all 31, would... Whoops. That was bad. Hang on. Do that. Select it reverse, and then we do it. Would pretty much have a tail that would look like this, pure white, and a back paw print that would also look white. This is obviously best case scenario. This is the kind of Smeargle one would aim for. However, if we go back to the tail, the hang on. Yeah, that'll do, whatever. The special attack stat can be varied, so if I could just plug a value in here. Say it had a special attack IV of 13. The value it gives me in correspondence to colours would be 107. So thinking back to this special attack, that's the blue value. If that was 107, then potentially this Smeargle could have a yellow tail and still be as competitively viable as it's going to get, because no one in their right mind would use a Smeargle with any special attack, except perhaps sheer cold, which is what I used on my Smeargle at the World Championships, getting literally a 100% hit rate. Like, I only used it once and it hit. And that was my win condition, and it actually won me one of my 4 wins on day 1. Boom. If we go to extremes and make it 0, if it had a special attack IV of 0, it would basically be a darker shade of yellow. You probably couldn't tell the difference here. But it would end up being a darker shade of yellow. Now, as for physical attack, if Smeargle didn't have Fake Out, you could go for a lower value there. So we'll look at a couple of things here. That will be the green value. So if we brought that down to 0 as well, then we'd have just red. And it would have a red tail. Nearly what the default shiny Smeargle actually has, which has a reddish pinkish tail. And again, special attack could vary, so the value, again, was blue. I'm actually having serious memory issues. I should probably talk to a medical doctor about that. Could potentially be a pink tail. So when IV breeding a Smeargle, and you want something that's 6 IV, you'll always want, a Smeargle with a white paw print on its back. And as proven, you'll want a Smeargle with a pink tail, a red tail, a yellow tail, a white tail, or somewhere in between. Remember, this is not how it actually is, even in Sun and Moon. You still got the generic green tail and I think green paw print, and on the shiny Smeargle, the red of each. My plush Smeargle actually had a green tail and a blue paw print on its back. So, not really very exciting. But this is a possibility to make IVs more visible on Smeargle in future games, and I would so love to see this happen. I really would. And that is it for this episode of Machop's Musings. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to give some feedback in the comments below, and I will see you next time.